Hello everybody, it's the War Hipster here, coming at you with another Cursed City painting tutorial, and today we are painting the Caradron Overlord Dagnai Holdenstock. He's a really detailed miniature and there's a lot to do on him and it's going to be a lot of fun. So without further ado, we're going to get right into painting. He's been primed in Grace here, and the first colour we're going to be using is Flesh Tearers Red. Now we're going to be using this on all of his, funnily enough, red details. Now this is only going to include the inside of his cloak, but it's important to do this detail first so that we're not trying to kind of get our brush in and around a bunch of lovely nice details that we've painted already. So what we do is we take our Flesh Tearers Red and we just start picking out these details. So we're going to start around here on this part of the coat with the Flesh Tearers Red. Just like that. Don't worry if you splodge it in certain areas where you don't want it, like the outside of the coat, for example. We are going to fix that with some Grace here. Once we've got this layer done, we just need to get this layer done first. With that Flesh Tearers Red applied, what we're then going to do is going to take some Akhelian Green, and we're going to use this in two places. Firstly, we're going to use it on his shirt. Like that. But what we're also going to do is we're going to use it on the armor panels. On his shoulders. And so with that Akhelian Green applied, what we're then going to do is we're going to take some Leviadon Blue. I'm going to use this over the top. Of the Akhelian Green like this. However, when it comes to the shoulder pads, what you want to do, just try try your hardest to not go over the edge. But if you do, it doesn't matter too much because we are going to do some highlights. If you're able to preserve some of that edge the Akhelian Green has provided us, it just helps. And so with that done, what we're now going to do is going to paint the outside of the coat, and the colour we're going to make is a roughly 1-to-1 mix of Black Templar and Cygor Brown. And this will just give us a really, really lovely dark leather colour. And then next up, using the Cygor Brown on its own, we're going to paint in his gloves. And with that done, what we're then going to do is going to make a roughly 5 parts contrast medium to 1 part Wyldwood mix. And we're going to use this on his trousers and on the lapels on his shirt. with that done, what we then do is take Wyldwood just on its own and use it to colour in just this small wooden section of his weapon. Just there on the stock. And so with that done, what we're now going to do is we're going to use some thinned down iron hand steel. We're going to use this to paint in all of our silver details. And with that done, what we're now going to do is we're going to use some thinned down Screaming Bell. I'm going to use this to paint in the really kind of coppery, reddy, goldy details. This is going to include areas like the little flasks. So we've got one hanging here, like that. We've got two more down here. And we've also got this area down here on the weapon. We've got the large ball joint there as well. And with that done, what we're then going to do is we're going to use some thinned down Castellax Bronze. I'm going to use this to paint in two areas. Firstly, I'm going to paint in his metal beard. Like that. What we're also going to do is use this Castellax Bronze to paint in this canister on the side here. And with that done, what we're then going to do is we're going to take some thinned down Retributor Armour, and we use this to paint in effectively all of the remaining metallics. And with that done, what we're then going to do is take some black Templar. I'm going to use this on the remaining pipes. And with that done, we're then going to take some Skeleton Horde. I'm going to use this to paint in the rope up here, as well as the contract. Down here. And with that done, we're then going to use some Guilliman Flesh. I'm going to use this to paint in his skin. And so with that, we've got all of our base coats onto Dagnai Holdenstock. So what we're going to do is we're going to start shading all those metallics. Now the first colour we're going to make is a roughly 4 parts contrast medium to 1 part black Templar. We're going to use this all over our silver details. Now you want to be very careful here so as not to overload your brush, because otherwise it comes out very black. What you want to do is just want to slap this all over there. And what this does over the top of the iron hand still, it gives it a really kind of oily texture. It just looks perfect for this type of metallic work. Very mechanical. And with that done, you can see we've got some beautifully shaded silver. So what we're going to do is we're going to now shade all of the gold. The colour we're going to be using for this is Fyreslayer Flesh. And then next up, we're going to use some Gryph Hound Orange. I'm going to use this to shade our Screaming Bell areas. So with all those shades applied, what we are going to do now is we're going to use some Skull Crusher Brass. I'm going to use this to layer up over the top, on the gun particularly, and also on that backpack as well, over the top of all of our Screaming Bell, just like this, as well as over the top of all that gold as well, just to make it nice and shiny, and a warm shininess at that. Don't worry about doing areas like the instruments down here and the decorative features on the axe. Just want to focus on the weapon and his backpack. With the Skull Crusher Brass. I don't know if I said it. Skull Crusher Brass. And so with that done, you should now have some really lovely shiny mechanical areas on the backpack and on the gun. So what we're going to do just very quickly, I'm going to take some Hashut Copper. I'm going to use this to highlight our remaining Screaming Bell details. So we've got these little jars here and on the bell as well. Just like that. And with that done, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some Canoptek Alloy. I'm going to use this to highlight all the areas that we've relayered with Skull Crusher Brass. So this is the backpack, the gun, and his beard. Don't know if I've mentioned the beard. Oh, and this little rune on his belt as well. And so with that done, what we're then going to do is we're going to take some Liberator Gold and use this to highlight our remaining gold details. So we've got the decorative areas here. And the weapon stock. We've got this device down here. We've got the key. And we've got the the axe details as well. Just check that we haven't got any more. And with that done, what we're now going to do is we're going to take some thinned down iron hand steel once again. I'm going to use this to highlight all of our sealed silver details. And with that done, what we're then going to do is going to take some Stormhost Silver. I'm going to use this to highlight the sharpest points on all of our silver. Just like that. So with that done, all of our metallics are now finished. So what we're going to do is going to move on, and we're going to paint in, well, we're going to highlight all of our brown details. Now this is just going to be the leather that we painted with Cygor Brown, not the coat. So the gloves, the belt, his eye patch, strap, all of those kinds of areas. And the colour that we're going to be using for this is Skrag Brown. And with that done, what we're then going to do is going to take some Deathclaw Brown. I'm going to use this just to add a little bit of a hot spot highlight over the top of where we've added those Skrag Brown highlights. Just to give it the impression of the light catching. Just like that. And so with that done, I can't believe I keep missing it and forgetting to do it, but what we are going to do is we're going to paint the soft grip on his hand axe. And the colour we're going to be using for that is Volupus Pink. And so with that done, what we're now going to do is we're going to highlight his coat using some Dark Reaper. Just picking out all the sharp edges and folds in the coat like that. And with that done, what we then do is take some Thunderhawk Blue. We apply this as a narrower highlight and as a spot highlight over the top of where we've added our Dark Reaper. So with that done, what we're then going to do is going to take some Dawnstone and use this to add a little highlight to all of our black pipes. Just like that. And then next up, we're going to use some Screaming Skull to highlight all of our parchment, his trousers, and the rope, and the lapels on his shirt. And with that done, what we then do is take some Sotek Green. We use this to highlight our armour panels on the shoulders. And so with that done, what we then do is we take some Lothern Blue. We apply this. It's a little spot highlight. To that Sotek Green like that. What we also want to do is just want to check for any sharp creases in his shirt. There's one just here, for example. There's one over here as well. Just like that. And so with that done, all that's left to do is to work on his face. We've got this dial at the back here, which you might have been staring at the entire time going, why aren't you painting that? Well, it's because we're leaving that to last because there's a couple of cool things that we're going to do with it. So, as I say, we're going to move on and we're going to paint his face. And the colour that we're going to be using is Flayed One Flesh. What we're going to do is just going to pick out his facial features, such as his nose, his eyebrow here, his cheekbones and his eyelids. And then next up, what we then do, take a tiny amount of Pallid witch flesh, just pick out those sharpest edges. So for example, the tip of his nose, just here on the brow. Just like that. And with that done, then take some Screaming Skull, use this to colour in his eyeball. And then next up, we want to use a small dot of black Templar to colour in his pupil. Just like that. So with that done, our face is finished. There's only a couple of details remaining. We've got the engine housing here, keep forgetting about it. We've got the dial and we've got this lens here on his eyeball and also here on the weapon. So what we're going to do is we're going to be using 3 colours to do all of these. We're going to be using Talassar Blue, Ork Flesh and Blood Angels Red. Now first thing we're going to do is we're going to use Talassar Blue. I'm going to use this to paint in those 2 gems. So we've got this one here on his eye, like that. We've also got the sighting piece here. On the weapon, like that. What we also want to do is we want to take this Talassar Blue and here, the engine housing, just over the top of that gem in the middle, and out to each of the sides. We just want to add this Talassar Blue, like this. Then, still sticking with Talassar Blue, what we want to do is in here on the dial, we want to paint the right hand section with Talassar Blue. You want to use the pips as a guide here. That's how thick you want this line to be, like that. Then what you do is you wash your brush, grab some Ork Flesh, and just in the middle, again using those pips as a guide, you want to colour in that middle section, like that. Then you wash the brush once more, grab some Blood Angels Red, and you paint in the remaining pips. Like so. So it looks like it goes from red to green to blue. Just like that. And with that done, what we then do is take some black Templar. And we use this to paint in the needle. like so. And so with that done, what we then want to do is take some blue horror. We want to add this. There's a little spot on each of our gems like that. What we also want to do is just in the middle here, add this blue horror. It's like a little line, just to give it that impression of it glowing a little bit. And lastly, just to finish off those blue areas, we're going to take some Corax White and add it right in the middle where we've added that blue horror. One thing I have of course forgotten to mention and do is to take some Evil Sun Scarlet and use this to highlight our red details. Just like so. And so with that done, all that's left to do is to work on that skeleton on this base. Because we haven't covered how we're going to paint the skeletons yet, I thought I'd do it very quickly in this video. What we're going to do is we're going to use Terradon Turquoise first, and we're going to use this to paint in his helmet. And with that Terradon Turquoise applied, what we then do is take some black Templar and paint this over the top. And with that done, we then take some Skeleton Horde and we use this on the bones. And with that done, we then take some Iron Hand Steel and use that to highlight his helmet. And with that done, we then take some Pallid Witch Flesh and we use that to highlight the bones. And with that done, all that's left to do is to finish off his base in the same style as the rest of your Cursed City set. Now, I'm not going to demonstrate the whole thing, because we've already done that. And if you want to see how I do mine, you can check out the How to Paint Captain Imelda Braskov or How to Paint Jelson Darroch. And so, Dagnai Holdenstock is now finished, and this was a lot of fun to do. He's my first ever Caradron Overlord, and it was a lot of fun. There are a stunning range of miniatures anyway, but this one in particular, within the realms of Cursed City, is just, it's so unique and so wonderful. I mean, the weapon is crazy, first and foremost. I'm not entirely sure what it is, but it looks like some sort of Urgold powered harpoon with which to bring his enemies closer to then hit them with that axe, or indeed to anchor people for other people to hit them harder. Yeah, it's just, he's a really interesting miniature. Lots of different metallic recipes, which is always fun to try and kind of navigate your way around, and I really think I learned a lot painting this one as well. If you enjoyed this video, you love the channel, and you'd like to support me further, like these legends and bosses that you can see on the screen before you, you can do so. Head to patreon.com/warhipster or head to ko-fi.com/warhipster. Don't forget to share it, like it, comment on it, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And to make sure you stay up to date, don't forget to click the bell icon. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all very soon in the next one. Happy wargaming.